Hello and welcome, my name is Aaron Shiner. In today's training, we're going to be looking at what it takes to create a rapid growth in 2019. We're going to be looking at the processes, the structures and the systems to take you from where you are to where you want to be. In today's interview, we're going to be talking to Peter Diamantidis, one of Australia's leading real estate agents. Peter regularly features as the who's who in the REB. In the past 12 months has written over $2.2 million in GCI and has secured over 143 listings. We're going to be digging deep to find out exactly what Peter does to stay ahead of the competition and what Peter's going to do in the next 12 months to go to the next level. Let's get into the interview. Make sure you've got your pen and your notepad to take plenty of notes. There's plenty of take-home value in this one. All right, so welcome everybody. Hello, special welcome to Peter for joining us today on this last coaching webinar for the year. So welcome Peter, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think before we get started, for those of you, or for those of our listeners that don't know who you are, I just thought I'd just do a quick intro, and if there's anything that I miss,
Sure.
Let's add. So Peter Diamantidis, Rain and Horn St Mary's, 15 years in the business?
Going on to 17.
17 years in the business. And how long listing and selling?
I would say now, 11 years.
11 years listing and selling. So obviously, I think you started, what was it, when you were 15?
15, yeah. 15, out of school, 1 week work experience. I'm still there.
And you're still there, never left. Okay, can I ask this question? And this is more from a leadership point of view. Okay, you've got a lot of career options open to you. And as it says on the screen, over 2.2 million in GCI in the past 12 months. One of the top sales reps, I think #1 in Rain and Horn, New South Wales. 144 listings. Straight out of school, what's kept you in the same company? Because you've had, I'm no doubt you get approaches every day. You can choose to go anywhere you like. What's kept you in the one area? What's kept you in the one office? That's more of a selfish question for me.
Yeah. Well, basically, at the age of 15, knew nothing. Somebody took me under their wing. Had faith in me, and I'm still there. A lot of opportunities have come in the way. I've had other opportunities to go into other areas, which maybe the dollar figure might be over $1 million, $1 million a sale. But I've stuck in the same area. I was born there, bred there. That's where I want to stay. So there's you create a database there, which I've done over the years. And now it's, you don't have to ring 100 people a day anymore. They'll ring you.
And it's interesting that you say that, isn't it? Because, people get tempted by the whole idea that the grass is greener. And as you said, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. And you've got this massive database of people that know you, and your business has gone from this reactive or this, proactive based business where you're chasing people now to a reactive based business where one of the things I want to talk to you about today is your branding, your profile, your marketing. You drive around the area, you're known, you see your signboards. So I reckon that leads me to one of my first questions. And the first question that I think would be of most benefit for everybody would be, what's Peter going to do to ensure you're getting listings up to the end of the year? So what sort of marketing are you doing and that you have in place? What sort of prospecting or any personal marketing or Facebook marketing? So I know you do very well on your social media stuff. So what's the sort of things that you've got in, what campaigns do you have running now between now and the end of the year?
Okay. Well, I look at it as, if it's January, if it's December, to me, it's all the same. You continue on. But what I started doing back in probably September is ringing people that have gone through, did appraisals for maybe a year ago, 8 months ago, advising them that we're getting closer to the end of the year. Some of them are itchy fingers, may want to list, may want to come onto the market. We've been signing them up as an off-market opportunity and keeping it on our books until late January. What would normally happen then from late January may convert into a full listing.
So talk me through that process, because you've mentioned off-market twice now. So obviously that seems like it's one of your strategies to get people to dip their toe in the water, get a feel for how you work, and then obviously then convert them into a full-blown listing if it doesn't go to the... Can you just talk us through that process?
So how it works both ways. So on the vendor side of things, some of them, as I said, they may want to come on. A lot of them are just saying, well, let's just wait to January.
Yep.
Why wait to January? As an agent, you want it signed up. Sign it up as an off-market opportunity.
Yep.
A, you've got a signature.
Yep.
B, you can then put it as a full listing early next year.
Yep.
But what you've got then is, if you've got a buyer, a pool of buyers,
yes,
creates urgency. It's an off-market opportunity. It's not on the market.
Yeah.
So if you've got a genuine buyer that's looking for a property, they'll be very grateful for you to call them to get them through there. Now, if you get 8 or 9 people through in one go and the property's off-market, it's going to create urgency and potentially sell before the end of the year.
Yep.
Already we have sold probably off-market 3 or 4 since September. Off-market. Now, may sound low, but it's just the market we're in.
Yeah, okay. And it's interesting. One of the things I want everybody to pick up on is that strategy of what Peter's doing is getting the authority signed now. He's not waiting to January, but the way he's doing and bringing people's timeline forward is by simply saying it's an off-market sale. So if it hasn't sold by now, he can launch it as a live listing in Jan. Is that right?
Correct.
That's the play that I'm reading.
So what I basically do is the vendors will say, well, you know, what marketing we're going to pay? And say, well, it's an off-market, you pay no marketing.
Yep.
Leave it as it is. Our agency agreement will carry on to the new year.
Yep.
We get any people, we'll bring them through.
Yep.
Happy days. By then, that vendor may have been looking in another area, may have seen another property, gets a little bit more motivated. When it comes to January, I'm more motivated to sell, Peter. Let's go out, let's do the campaign. Here's a couple of $1,000s of marketing and let's go.
Okay.
Property will sell.
Yeah.
They dipped their toes and now they've dipped their foot.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and they've also warmed up to you as well.
Correct.
They know that, you know, who you are, how you operate, and now, okay, I get it. So talk me through, and I think, you know, this whole webinar was around rapid growth, because obviously, you know, we've been competitors, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this, and I put it in one of my emails, there's about 3 or 4 guys I really respect here, and any time, and it's been listings where you've beaten me and I've beaten you, and there's a really healthy respect there. You know, I'd see you, we'd drive around the opens on a Saturday and I'd wave and you'd wave, and we'd go our separate ways. But one of the things I think a lot of people will want to know, let's just say, right, you've got a lot of years in the industry, 17 years in the industry, 11 or 12 listing and selling. If I'm a new agent right now and I'm listening, because I can see there's some really experienced agents on this call, but plus there's some rookies on this call. If we're talking about rapid growth and you're saying, and you know, the whole goal for everybody on this call should to be, I want to have my best year ever. I want to make sure I list more, sell more, earn more, or maintain what you're currently doing, but do it in less time. So I guess the question I have for you with that in mind is, if I'm a new agent, what are sort of 3 or 4 things that you could tell me or recommend I do, or that have worked well for you to sort of get some quick traction?
Okay. Well, when I started, and as I said, times have changed. When I started, say, 16 or nearly 17 years ago, it was pen and paper. Computers. The computers were around, but we didn't use them as often. If you're a new agent, the main thing first is to create a database. It means every call that you take, if it's a vendor, potential vendor, if it's a seller, that seller will eventually be a vendor. Doesn't matter if you don't sell to them now, but try to list their property in 4 or 5 years. So creating the database from day one. Very important. I see a lot of agents with a fat database, but you better to have a thinner database and a healthier database rather than having just everyone everywhere.
So that would be, okay, so that's one of the things. So what, and let me condense that and cliff note it, and that is make sure you stay in contact with every single person you meet, collect them, put them, store them, put them in the database, nurture them. Now, you know, one of the things you said, you know, have a fit, not fat database, and I agree with that, because there's some people that have like this huge database and they say, oh, I've got this massive database. I'd say, well, when was the last time you contacted them? Oh, I don't. Or, you know, how often do you communicate with them? Or what's your marketing strategy? And they say, oh, I don't have any of that in place. Well, realistically, you don't have a database. You just have an Excel list that you pay a monthly subscription on. So here's my question when we talk about fit versus thin or fit versus fat. And that is, well, what do you do? And I think this is really important because obviously you're getting a lot of people, as you said, coming to you. What are some of your communication strategies? Like, how do you communicate with these people? How do you stay in contact with them? What are some of those things?
So it depends on the person. Now, you get some people which they won't even answer their call between 9 and 5. So you get that straight away. So I've got a list where pretty much it means that, am I going to send them a text message? Am I going to send them an email? Even with all my vendors, say 9 out of 10, we've got an app WhatsApp, everybody knows about it.
WhatsApp.
I keep communicating with them straight away. The reason why I keep communicating with them is I send a contract, bang, it's done. That is I find that very, very important. So just keeping in touch with them, email, phone, it all depends on the actual person. That's all it comes down to.
So what I'm hearing then is when somebody hits your database, you might not be doing a lot of broadcast communication, but you'll be doing a lot of one-to-one.
Oh, one-on-one,
a lot of one-on-one follow-up stuff. So if I've come into your database and I'm a buyer, like one of the first things you said, and I really liked it because it was there's no secret to success. Sometimes there is no substitute for hard work. There's a saying that you can work smarter, not harder. Sometimes you just got to work harder. One of the things you said when we were off mic was, look, the market's changing. Everybody's looking for, and I'm a bit paraphrasing now, but everybody's looking for the secret bullet. Sometimes the secret is with your buyers, just picking up the phone and talking to them.
Correct.
And not replacing those important phone calls for substitute for an SMS or an email. It's not an either or business, it's an and business. So yes, you can send them the SMS. Yes, you can send them an email, but there's no substitute for phone call. So talk to me. So that was one of the things. So that was one of your three things that you would give a new agent advice on. So database is number one. We sort of got sidetracked. What would be the second thing you would say?
Second thing is, and as I said, it's a bit of an odd one. But if you're a new agent, you've just started in an office. One thing I'd recommend is go through old withdrawn listings, old contacts. Because what normally happens is an agent that's been there for 5 or 6 or 7 years, they're not going to go through any of that. They've built a little bit of a reputation. And they will call them. But you may get something out of it. Rather than going out knocking on 100 doors, you can make 100 calls. Doesn't matter if they say, sorry, no, I've bought, and I don't want you to contact me. But hey, you've bought something. Can I just keep you updated with the market? How do you want to do it? Email, text, whatever, once a year, once a month, whatever it is, keep in contact with you. The more times that person actually sees your name, hears your voice, most likely you'll be on their shopping list when it comes time to sell or to buy.
Okay. And what's interesting there, Pete, what you're really talking about is orphan data. Because you're talking about go through old buyer logs, go through past purchases and past seller history, because there's agents that come and go throughout the offices.
Correct.
And when that agent leaves, well, those people then lose a point of contact with that office. Well, the upside is they already know that office, so they may as well have you as the point of contact. So I really like that piece of advice. Chase, as you said, the withdrawals, the off markets, the expireds. So all those people that are already what I call in property mode, people that have done a transaction and at least know your offer. So that's awesome. So that's thing number 2. What would thing number 3 be if you're a new agent and you want to have great growth in 2019?
In 2019, if you haven't already, create a social media page, Facebook. Facebook, as I said, some people are not on it. Most people are. You list the property. Say you've only listed 5 properties in a year. Just saying. That property, boost it. Make sure the neighborhood knows about it. Make sure when they sell, everybody knows about it. Make sure everybody hears about it, because, as I said, they will hear your name and the property which is being sold. That creates, as I said, a lot of urgency. I'm finding now that a lot of people are just doing letterbox drops. You've got 10 properties, 5 of them are rented, you've lost 50% of your thing. Social media, at least, as I said, people tag people. I've done it for 4 years. I've got around, I think, 6,500 likes on there, and it's still growing.
And you know what's funny though, Pete? I'm one of those people, and I comment and like on your posts when you do something. And what I've noticed, it's not just that you got 6,500 followers or people that have liked your page. What I can tell from your page, and this is really good, and this is an observation between your page and a lot of other pages, you get a lot of engagement on those posts. So when you do a post, it's nothing for you, and you'd have the analytics and the stats, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen posts of yours with a couple of hundred likes and 50, 100 comments.
Correct.
So you are having people engage you. So okay, well, here's the thing, guys, and this is the difference between, because Peter's got his own personal page we're friends with, and then he's also got his business profile. I think, I don't know, one's called page, one's called profile, but Peter's got a page and a profile. So the difference there is, I can see on your personal page, you've got your family stuff and your friend stuff, and then he has his business page. I think if I can fill in the blanks, make sure to have two. So you're not just spamming
Correct.
your friends with just listed and just solds, but you're what you said, you're targeting, you're boosting. So can you just, and I think, look, a lot of people will know about the boosting, but can you just go through the main things? Like, how do you target? What are you doing? Sort of budget, just the main parts.
So firstly, when you people come through your open houses. Now, some people may not do this. I'll say, Aaron, how are you? Thank you for coming through. Which area are you living in at the moment? I'm living around Parramatta. So what we have found in some of our certain properties, everyone's living around the Parramatta region. So you boost the properties pretty much. You use a budget. It might be $50, might be a couple of $100, and hit around those areas. The reasons is if we've got a house for $500,000 in, say, some areas, and in Parramatta there's an average house of 1.4 or 1.5, people are gonna be in shock if they don't know the market, and may actually bring them out here or tag a friend that's interested in buying a property. It does work. We have seen it, as I said, because people have come through open houses and they have seen it on Facebook, and it works quite well.
And that's the new age, where social media and remarketing is like sniper marketing. You can target buyers in Parramatta, where the old traditional letterbox drops, as you said, which is a 50% hit rate in this area, or a newspaper ad, that's like buckshot marketing, because you're just spraying and praying and hoping that ad hits your audience. Where what you're doing is really targeted. So just three things for new agents. Number one was database. Number two, work your past. That was number one. Number two was
working on old.
That's right. The old contacts. And number three, the social media. So stay in contact with everybody, work the old leads and the Facebook strategy. So that's really good, right? Okay. One of the questions that I tell a lie. Jason on this call wanted me to ask this, and it was a really relevant question because. The market's changed in a lot of markets.
It has.
On the eastern seaboard, and look, I've got an opinion of what I think it's come down. Price-wise, in the last 12 months, how much has it shifted backwards in your area?
An area anywhere between 8 to 15%.
Yeah, okay. Well, I would have said anywhere between about 12 to 18% would have been my take.
Some have.
And talk about. And I won't say about your business, but I'd say in general, the general turnover slowdown would be about 20 to 25% across the board.
Probably
even more. So here's my question. We're certainly entering a changing market. So one of the questions that was asked of me to ask you, what are you doing? Because obviously, one of the things we're talking about, even around rapid growth, is while others are going to be retracting next year in volume, in revenue, what are you doing? And one of the things you said, look, it might not necessarily be to grow, but it might be to maintain. And realistically, if you can maintain, that is growth, because everybody else is shifted back. So I guess my question is, what are you doing differently in a changing market? What have you had to do to change tact because we've had it so good for so long?
So the most important thing, a lot of people are focusing more on listings. And everyone believes it's the listing. If you've got the listings, buyer management. One-on-one, face-to-face with buyers. Now, at an open house, you've got a couple of minutes to spend. Grab as much details, follow them through. I'm now bringing buyers back to the office. Could be Monday afternoon, could be 7 o'clock in the evening. How can I help you? What are you looking for? You've got your finance approved. So if their finance is approved and they just need a property, now we've got stock. If we don't have stock, to be honest, I'd be ringing other agents asking for a conjunction that I may have a buyer. We're getting back to that stage where we were in probably 2006, 2007, when agents were conjuncting. So buyer management is number one on my list. Is somehow, if they've got finance, they really want to buy, find them something. Find them. Doesn't matter if it's for another agent.
Can I ask you this question then, Peter? Because what you just talked to me about was you're dealing with qualified buyers. The way that you said it, they've got finance, they're prepared to meet you in the office at 7 o'clock. Someone that's prepared to do that isn't a window shopper on a Saturday. You know that they're going to buy. So can I ask this question? If one of the, and what you've realistically said is one of the main things that you've changed in this market is your buyer management has gone to another level.
Would that be completely first time in since we've been there? We always used to chase listings. The listings are now starting to come in. And now, this is with our office, we can be choosy on which listings we take and which ones we don't. Reasons are you get a unrealistic owner, which was not motivated, there is no point up for us taking that listing on if we know that it's going to be withdrawn in 3 months' time. Spend more time with the buyers to service them and try to sell our own stock, which we've got on the market at the moment.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because those ones that are unrealistic on price and are not motivated, I call them a mirage. They look like a listing, they feel like a listing, but you can never quite grasp them. And as you think you're close to a deal, the goalposts change. So here's my question then, because what we're talking about is a thing that a lot of agents, because we've had it good for 5 or 6 years, realistically. Longer. They said buy management. What are you talking about? So can I ask this then? Tell me, what are some of the things that you're doing to qualify that makes a good buyer?
So before we even book an appointment, it's basically, hi Aaron, you've come through this property. Now, 9 out of 10 are not answering between 9 and 5. Firstly, they're first home buyers in our market. They probably can't answer their phone at work. I send them a text message. You've come through the property. I'm going to give you a call between 5 and 6 to talk about this property or other properties which I may have coming on. So firstly, it leads them is, if they're not interested with the property, and if I just talked about that property, they won't answer my call. Secondly, I'm bringing up other properties which they will take my call. Speak to them on the phone. Aaron, how you going? You've come for the open house. We didn't spend much time. Well, what are you looking for? How can we help you? Looking for a townhouse. I'm looking for something brand new. Okay, have you got your finance ready? And then they say yes. If they say yes, then you want to say, well, come into our office. We've got so many other listings coming onto the market, or things that you may have not seen, and we can go from there. And a lot of them would say, I work till this time. So, well, let's do something after hours. Now, the good thing about that, it's midweek. Hardly any other agents are going to do that for them. You're taking the time to do it. Yes, you sound like a taxi driver, but if you're showing them 3 or 4 different listings, there's a high percentage that they're going to buy off you.
You know what's interesting here, Pete? This is just an observation. Right now, you're prepared to get your hands dirty.
Correct.
And what I mean by that, guys, Pete's prepared to get his hands dirty in the sense that he's prepared to do what other agents aren't. Every agent wants the listings and the sales, but none of the other agents are prepared to do the 6:30 to 7:30 appointments. They all want the commissions without exchange, putting the sweat equity in. So I think that's a real sort of, and I don't think that's not a skill set thing. That's a mindset thing. That's a work ethic thing more than anything else. So I really like that you said that, because sometimes I think, me included, we're all chasing the shiny new object and the newest way to do business, but sometimes there's no substitute for hard work. And one of the things I know is if you're going to go to a personal trainer and you want to get into shape, the personal trainer might say, hey, you've got to go and do 50, 100 push-ups a day. That might suck, but that's the means to the end. And the reality is the trainer can't do the push-ups for you. At some point, you've got to do the hard work. And one of the things you said, they're doing those late appointments. You said it already. Other agents aren't prepared to do it.
And the way I look at it, and this is just myself, is would I like to pour concrete at 6 p.m. in the evening, or should I do an appointment at 6 p.m. in the evening? Now, at the end of the day, we are very lucky to be in this industry. To sell properties, to list properties, even to show rental properties. At the end of the day, we could be working a harder life, more labouring jobs. So, be grateful. That's why I look at it.
It's pretty good. And for me, one of the great qualifying questions you can ask a buyer to see if they're ready to go, like Pete's having just an honest, down-to-earth chat, but one of those questions you can incorporate into that dialogue is a real simple one. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I constantly getting new properties coming to the market. If I get one that launches during the week, are you able to come and inspect it after work midweek? It's a great question, guys, and it's one I'd love you to remember, because here's what I know. If someone is prepared to simply meet you at 7 o'clock on a midweek after work, they're genuine.
I'll give you a really good example.
Please.
That only just happened. I even actually got a review and it's on my page. I had a listing. Firstly, it was listed around September last year by a local agent. Probably around 60 days. Then listed with another agent. So in total, 320 days before it came to me. Of course, the price has come down in that time. We're running open houses, a couple of open houses, same story. Person called me. I can only get there at 6:30. I just sold my house in Kashula. I want to get out there. I went out there at 6:30. The guy, what exactly said to me is, I wanted to get through 3 properties. You're the only one that actually returned my call. That at night, we signed it up and it was done. It was done. Now, as I said, the end of the day, if I didn't show them through on the Saturday, during the week, he would have came out on the Saturday, maybe look at 10 properties. But because I was the only one, he had one choice. He loved the property. He was scared that he was going to miss out on it on Saturday, and he signed that contract.
Yeah, okay. So really,
urgency.
Yeah, it's urgency, but realistically, you're just prepared to do what other agents aren't.
Correct.
So I really like that, guys. So part of in a changing market, world-class, and really what you're talking about now is world-class buyer management. You know, going above and beyond what your competitors are prepared to do.
Correct.
Get your hands dirty and do what the other agents aren't. So that's awesome. So here's a question, right, that I have, and this is more around, you know, because if you're a resident in St. Mary's, Oxley Park, Collerton, you'd have to be almost living under a rock to not know who you are as an agent. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to call you in, but you're at least, you're known, you know, you've got a big profile in the area. So here's a question, right? And you know, one of the things I've already said, it's not always about who you know, it's about who knows you. So can I ask, what are some of the things, and I already know some of the things that you do exceptionally well, but what are some of the things that you can share with our listeners or our watchers, our viewers, around personal profile or personal branding or personal marketing? Because I think from an outsider looking into your business, that's something that you've done very well in the local marketplace.
Yeah, well, the way I look at it is be the purple cow in the paddock. Being, as I said, is I did different things. Created, you know, my own website. So that was more on a different thing for, you know, to refer vendors to, much easier than sending them a million documents.
Yeah, so we'll come back to that, but you're talking about a digital sort of place where people can see who you are, what you do.
Sending them the link, that's what you got for your vendors. But as I said, to get in the door, you sell a property. Make the sold sticker as big as you can, stand out.
That's the number one thing I see when I'm driving around. And okay, so let's talk about the big sold sticker. What's on it?
Just sold, congratulations, my big head on it, Peter Diamantidis, phone number. Now that's everywhere. That's everywhere. So pretty much what I do is, with a lot of my vendors, the property will settle today. I'll say to them, do you mind if I leave it up for another 30 days? That extra 30 days gets so much more traffic. Rather than having a 42-day, you know, it's been there for 42 days and it's done. So another thing what I do is, if it's a record sale, get a sign done up. Record sales, street record. That whoever lives in the street, I can guarantee they're going to call you because they own a property. They want to know what that actually sold for. Same as letterbox drops. Letterbox drops, you don't tell them what the property sold for, you're not going to get an inquiry. Don't put the price. Put your name, number, property sold, record listing, record sale, whatever it is, they'll call you.
They'll call you.
Get their database, get their information, enter them into the database, there you go.
Okay, so two things I really like there. One, on every one of Pete's sold stickers, his face, his name, and it's also your contact number, I think,
Contact number.
And it is a big bad boy. So it's not, you know, Rain and Horn's the hero here. It's Peter's the hero. And that's one of the first things you see when you'll drive around. You know, it's not just Rain and Horn sold it, Peter from Rain and Horn sold it. So that's the first thing. The second thing was, as you said, if it's a record, put record. You know, but here's the funny thing, Pete. What you've just said, and I can hear some objections already coming in, that costs money. The sold stickers cost money. The record, all that stuff,
you got to spend money. Spend money to make money. If you're an agent starting out, and as I said, you might be thinking, oh, damn, I've spent $1,000 and I've only earned $1,000. But you need to create something. If you're in an area where you've got people that have been there for 30 years, 40 years, how are you going to break that trend? How are you going to get in there? You need to be in their face. You need to be very constant with your marketing. Your letterbox drops, your sold stickers, your sold signs, everything. To realize that I've even gone to the stage where we go down, look on RP data, property is sold. Well, we know that there's 10 rental properties there. What's the point of putting a letterbox drop in there in the letterbox? That's what one of my people in my office said. You know what I said to them? That might be a tenant maybe looking to buy. So you still do it. So you still got to do all that every week, every month. You got to have a bit of a program.
Okay. And it's interesting what you said. It's the consistency.
Correct.
It's the consistency. You've been doing it for a period of time. And what happens, guys, is you hit critical mass. All of a sudden, people do start to remember you, and your business does transfer from being a proactive business where you're constantly chasing to reactive, where, as you said, people are calling you now, and have been for a long time. And that's awesome. So, okay, let's talk about this, because some people are probably sitting here thinking, and I want to take this objection off the table. Pete's done over 140 listings in the past 12 months. He's done almost 2.3 million in GCI, which is a massive effort. You know, we're not talking Harbourfront. I should have mentioned this. You know, average sale price is around 600.
Well, if you work on realestate.com, yeah, they got the average. It's 523.
523, you know, as an average sale price, right? So it's a monumental effort, right? So here's my question: we're talking about rapid growth, and one of the things that you can't have any growth with or without is structure. So let's talk about that. Talk to me about the structure in which you work in, your team. Do you have
So I'll basically start with my everyday and what I do. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm at the gym by 5 o'clock. I'm in the office by 8 o'clock. That's regardless, unless there's something on the way to work that I have to do. When you're at work, first thing to always remember is don't get your personal life confused with your business life. People get sidetracked always with businesses. They do their own little things and stuff like that. If it's a Monday morning, you want to discuss with your sales team, who we've said we've got Terry. He's been there, you know, and been in real estate 50 years. Everyone goes, oh, but he's 74 years old. But you know what? He's good with the older generation. You know, he's not good with computers, but he's good with the older generation. We've got Jack in there. Jack's been there now close to 9 years. He's quite good. He lists, he sells properties. We've got our assistant Nicole. She does all of our admin stuff as well. She's been there for probably 13 years. So it's an established office.
But I want to, and this is why I asked you this question, because I think a lot of people think, oh, Peter's doing these numbers, he's got 5 assistants. No. How many assistants, not admin staff in the office, how many assistants do you have in your team?
One shared. So it's not even one. So basically how we work is, an assistant is good. And as I said, when you have a very good assistant, it can be shared with other salespeople as well. Because all they're doing is the administration stuff. Agency agreements, putting online, booking open houses. You, the salesperson, should be focused on listing, selling, buyer management. 3 things. It used to be 2 things, now it's 3 things. Buyer management is the key. I can write those numbers. I can show people at middle of the night, I'm working long hours. And some people may say, well, hire somebody else, let them do that. I'm happy to do it. Until I get to the stage where I say, well, you know what, I need somebody else. We'll hire somebody else.
Isn't that interesting? And I really wanted to sort of make that come out loud. This isn't a team of 5 agents working under you listing and selling. This is Peter and a part-time, or it's really just office admin. It's office admin, processing those deals. So here's my point, guys, and this is why I wanted to point it out. It's not about how great Peter is or anything else. You know what it's about? It's about priority management. And I really want us to get that. One of the things you touched on, Pete, and you didn't say it the same way as I did, but you said, don't let your personal life interfere with your personal life. And I understand that that's a hard thing to do in reality, but you've got to figure out what those priorities are. And you already told me. You said listing. What were they? Listing, buyer management. What was the third one in your eyes?
What was it? Buyer management, listing,
and prospecting. So they're your 3 things: prospecting, go to do listing appointments, and buyer management. So okay, let me synthesize that for you. And if I'm talking in first-hand experience, you don't worry about the numbers or the totals. What you worry about is making those connections each day. So for me, in my business, that helped me get to number 1 in the First National Network, and that was simply book 3 face-to-face appointments per day. And I don't care if that's with a seller, if that's about a price reduction or a buyer appointment. If you've got a minimum of 3 face-to-face appointments in your diary each day, your business will rapidly increase, because your time in productive mode, if you will increase dramatically. Where I think a lot of people overthink this, and they put these long game plans and strategies together, where I think the simple thing is, we're I don't know what the words would be. We're in a communication business, where our job each day is to talk to people that can either buy a property, potentially sell a property, or who are already selling a property, and book appointments with those people. Because here's what I know: you can't be that average to go to 3 appointments Monday to Friday and do that for a month and not get anything. Correct. So, if you're sitting here, and I really wanted to highlight that. Around Peter's assistance and structure, he's not running with 5 PAs. But what that tells me also is Peter is absolutely brilliant at time management. More importantly, Peter is absolutely brilliant at priority management and your focus. When you're at work, you work.
Focus. Well, I see, I used to get emails from, booking.com and everything going through email. delete it all.
Yeah.
It's all focused on that. And then sometimes you get all these emails from other stuff where you think, I didn't subscribe.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Business is business. Just focus on that, because you get sidetracked. All it takes is that extra 5 minutes and you forget what you were doing.
Yeah.
Finish the task. Every call to be returned by the end of the day, regardless. Doesn't matter if it's 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Return every call.
Yeah.
And what I try to do is, if I've got any email, then it's until around 5:30, every email is returned.
Yeah.
So you've basically returned every call, every email. You start the next day, you get your emails, which people are sending inquiries in at 12 midnight and whatever else, and then start on that.
Yeah. Well, what I'm taking away from that is there's no cigarette breaks, very little Facebook checking in. There's no office gossip there.
Okay.
You're at work, you're working, and I really love that, right? So, okay, let's talk about this. We're talking about rapid growth, and obviously some things have had to change in your business in the last 12 months to adapt to this changing market. Let's talk about, there's two things that I want to know. Vendors' expectations are here, and they've seen Bob and Mary's house 12 months ago get 650. Now their house is worth 580. Why can't I get what Bob and Mary got? So one of the things I want to talk about is your sort of vendor management. What's changed around managing vendors' expectations? What you're doing, if anything, differently to get offers accepted. What are you doing to get vendors to see value or now see correct market value? Let's talk about that.
Well, it's all coming down to the first time you meet them. These agents, and there's some agents which will go in there, list it at this high, and then try to bring the price down. It's not going to work. You need to be very honest with your vendor. They may say next door sold for that price. Fair enough. What's your intentions in selling? Well, I'm going to be buying down the South Coast. Well, you're selling in today's market, and you're buying in today's market is exactly the same. Next door sold for 680. Today you're going to sell for 580. If he bought down there, he'd be paying 100 grand more. You're paying 100 grand less. They need to understand that. Some owners don't understand that. They just think that if I sell here, I can, try to buy something so low. It's different market. The only time what I tell a lot of vendors is, of course, if you're selling today and you're just going to put the money in the bank and you're going to sit on it for 10 years, then that might be a time where you may lose money. So you try to warn them. So advise them on the price, the correct price at the time. You as an agent, if you're marketing the property, through your social media sites, you're online, you're in the magazine, you're everywhere pretty much. And you've had 3 open houses, nobody's turned up. I always say for 2 P's. Price or property. So 2 P's.
I like it.
Price or property. Me as the agent, I've done everything that I can do. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I think we need to adjust the price. So some of them may say, well, let's just leave it a little bit longer. No problems. If you ask me in the last 2 months how many times I've handed back keys, is because they said to me they would reduce the price and they wouldn't, and we're just sitting there. What's the point of me going out there every Saturday for half an hour while nobody's turning up for 3 or 4 weeks and the owner is not realistic in their price? I know you might be a new agent, you may be starting, you may think this is a great idea to list this property, but if they've got no motivations to sell or to be realistic in their price, you're worth not even taking the listing on from day one.
And I'd like to really add there, there's a couple of things here that everybody can sort of take from this. And I've always had this conscious process. And for me, the first one is that vendor motivated? In this market, the first thing I want to ask myself is this vendor motivated? Are they selling? Tick. Is this in my core location? Because as you know, as I know, and as you know, you've got better product knowledge, you've got access to more buyers in your core area.
Correct.
So are they motivated? Is it in your core area? The next one is their price expectation in line with the marketplace? Now, that doesn't always necessarily have to be so if they're motivated, because if they're motivated, price will eventually fall into line. And then the last one is, do you actually like the product? And for me, that is a really important thing. Liking the product that you sell, because if there's properties that you don't like, well, you're not going to be passionate about them. And sales is a transference of feelings. So what I want to dig on and dig deep a little bit into now. So that's like 4 things that you can sort of go through as a little checklist on, do you take on those properties? But one of the things you mentioned, which I really liked, it's not about how much you sell for and how much your neighbor got. It's about your changeover cost. I don't care in any market. It's always about your changeover costs. And I think one of the things you highlighted, which I think is really important, it's not about how much they're buying for and how much they're selling for. It's about what the net difference is. And I really want to make sure everybody picked up on that, because the net difference is ultimately, if their house goes up $1 million, chances are that where they're buying has also done the same. So the changeover costs are going to be similar.
Which had a good example where the owners wanted to list, for example, it was around, I think, $499 to $529.
Yep.
Just off of 403.
403,
403, and that's been 4 months on the market.
Yep.
Now, our original opinion was 425.
Yeah.
Now, we took it on because they needed to sell.
Yep.
They needed to sell, had a bit of issues. It eventually sold. So that's the listing on. It was overpriced. Nobody came through. Kept banging on the door. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. They said where they needed to buy has also come down. I said, well, let's reduce it to the price that we suggested originally.
Yeah.
And it sold.
Yeah.
But we took the listing on because we knew that they were motivated.
Yeah.
Another thing is just to be wary of as well, that depending on where your market is, the questions that, and this is it's probably sidetracking a bit, the question you need to ask is when somebody calls you for an appraisal is, when did you buy the property?
Yeah.
How long have you owned the property for?
Yeah.
Because what we're finding is if you bought that 1 or 2 years ago, potentially in your mind, if you know your area quite well, you probably can't even get that price back.
Negative equity.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you need to as I said, be careful. See the property, speak to them online, or speak to them on the phone, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But be wary that, as I said, the conversation. If you're the first agent to go in there to give them the bad news that the property's dropped 10%, 9 out of 10 you most likely won't get the listing.
Yeah. Okay. And one of the things before we move on from this vendor management thing, I want to just share a really simple dialogue with you. You can say, look, Mr. Vendor, can I just ask, do you simply want to sell? Because I can't want to help you sell more than you actually want to sell. And depend on how that response goes, it could be you keeping the keys or them getting the keys back, because you can say, look, if you do really want to sell, here's what I know. The best time to sell was yesterday. The next best time to sell is today. The worst time to sell is tomorrow. What we're going to find, come January, there's going to be an influx of properties and the same amount of buyers. Let's get ahead of that competition and let's go to market now and let's get it sold. You know, right now, you can add this if you like, but right now, the buyers are saying no to us. I'm not asking you to change your acceptance price. I'm just asking you to change your marketing price. Right now, buyers are saying no to us. What I would like to do is let's change the price. And at least if we're getting offers that aren't to your expectation, at least you can say no to them. So there's some good sort of vendor management sort of dialogue that you can have or you can use. Sorry. So next one, Pete. Coming into 2019.
Yep.
How are you? So are you going? By the way, this is more of a personal question, but are you going to take any time off over Christmas? Like, what's that normally look like for you?
So what I normally do is have between Christmas Day to roll normally around the 3rd or the 4th of January. I'm normally off.
So you take those couple of days.
When it's days off, it means that I've still got my phone on me. I've still got my laptop on my hip. I've still got my wife. Complain that I'm on the phone, but she's okay with it. But I'm still doing deals. The reason is, people need to buy, and sometimes people need to sell. Now, at the end of the day, I might be at the Gold Coast, and I can't show them the property, but I'm going to book in that appointment the first moment I get back into Sydney. Reason is, everyone's still asleep. Other agents might be still on holidays. I'm still going to show them through. And again, if they only go through one property rather than 10 properties, I've got more chances to sell that property.
I understand. You're playing the odds there. So, okay, well, here's a question I have. Let's just say we're now the first week in January. What are you do? Is there anything that you're going to do differently, or you're going to action or implement to make sure that you're booking appointments? Are you hitting the database? Are you doing any sort of letterbox drop? Or what I'm basically asking is there any campaign in place to ensure the pipeline is full come beginning of January?
Well, it all starts not in January. It all starts, as I said, back in September. Because, as I said, you want those listings signed up, even as an off market, to turn into a full-blown listing by January. So I know I'm speaking to a lot of agents, and they're saying, well, I'm getting ready for January. I'm getting ready. So is everyone. So what I tell a lot of vendors is, get your contract prepared by your solicitor. So I'll tell you something. When it gets close to Christmas, solicitors are closed in the 2nd or 3rd week of January, meaning no properties are coming on the market. If your property is ready to come onto the market or as an off market, you have more chances. More properties might be selling, less properties coming on. Less competition, more chances for your property to sell.
And it's interesting that you say that, because a great analogy that I want everybody to remember is around parking your car on top of the hill. Like back in the olden days, and I got this recently from Michael Shigo. We're at a conference together, and I really liked the analogy. And what he said, and I really liked it. And he said, like, look, in the olden days, cars were unreliable, the batteries would go flat, they'd conk out. And he said, if they weren't going to drive the car for a few days, what they would do is park the car on top of the closest hill they could find. So, when the car didn't start, you're already ready to go. They'd push it downhill, it would jump start, and you'd be in business. So what's my point? What's your strategy for parking the car on top of the hill? And you can clearly hear it. I've asked Peter a couple of different questions, and the answer's sort of coming through the same way. Talking to people now, bringing them off market, getting all the legal documentation. And I get it. There's people from New Zealand on here, and Queensland and Victoria. Our processes to New South Wales are different. That's okay. But getting all the legal documentation in order before you need it is basically what you're saying.
Correct. And then, as I said, it doesn't matter if it's December or November, whatever month it is, you got to continue on with your plan. A lot of people start to shut off and go, well, that's the end of the year. We've had a great year. It's November and that's it. Yeah. It isn't. Until basically you go on that holiday, you can basically keep showing properties. Yeah. Now, somebody said to me, are you going to be open the Saturday before Christmas? Why not? Yeah. Why not? People are going to be at the shopping malls. That's great. But I'll be wasting maybe 3 or 4 different hours, but I've got vendors which are paying me to sell their property. Now, if I can show even one person through in 3 hours, that's better than nothing, isn't it?
Well, it's funny that you say that, isn't it? Because we do. We're not in a business where we get show money. We get prize money. So we only get paid when we sell it. Correct. So there's no point. Two of my favourite sayings in this market, we get prize money, not show money. Yep. We get paid to sell the property, not to babysit them. And the thing is, you don't want to sometimes be the agent that puts in all the hard work or gets the vendor educated at the start, only that the second agent then shows it and then sells it. What do they say? Then the traditional saying was, early bird gets the worm, and the old one is, what is it? For me, one of my favourite sayings is, second mouse gets the house. Yeah. And sometimes that's the case, but you also want to make sure that that's not you if you're the first agent. You want to make sure you get it sold. So here's the thing, right? As we're talking about growth, and obviously I asked before this meeting, I said, hey, Pete, can you send me through some key things so I can sort of share with our viewers? And you knew all your figures sort of inside out and back to front. So coming into 2019, what are the most important things that you're going to track in your business to know if you're tracking right or you need to make some improvements? What are those things that you sort of track in your business?
You're going to laugh. When you asked me for the numbers, I didn't even know them. I had to go back through.
You fooled me.
And I had to ask somebody to get them all. So I don't look at every month. I don't have a target to say, well, I need to list 10 properties. I've got to sell 10 properties. Yeah. Some people like doing that. I don't, because they put myself under a lot of stress that I need to hit that number. Yeah. Now, all I can do is try my best, make every phone call, take every phone call, and I'll get there at the end of the day. Yeah. Of course, you don't want to fall off the pace and go, well, okay, I've just hit 2.2 mil and I'm down to 1.5. But you've got to remember, one thing that we do not have control about is the actual market. Correct. What we do have control about is what's going to happen in a way with your vendor, with your buyer, and how you can put it together. Yeah, okay. And what's interesting? This is, and so you fooled me good, because when you sent me, I'm like, geez, Pete's got these numbers to the dollar. This is awesome. Yep. And you got them back to me quick too. Yep. So here's what I know, and this is what I'd love everybody to do that's watching this. And realistically, one of the things I love, and what's coming through in spades here that I'm picking up, is work ethic. You're not afraid of hard work. So here's what I would say to everybody, and this is what I've done for my whole career. It's the mirror challenge. You can look yourself in the mirror before you go to bed every night when you brush your teeth, look yourself dead in the eyes and say, did I give it everything I've got? And I think that's a really good way to keep yourself accountable. I don't know if that's something you do, but that's something I've always done, because there's going to be days where you don't feel motivated, and I'm going to ask you a question about that. But you don't feel motivated or inspired, or you feel tired. Your energy levels aren't where they should be. So you sort of let yourself off the hook a little bit. But what I guess I'm asking everybody on here to do, look yourself in the mirror, because here's what I know: you can BS your wife, you can BS your boss, you can BS your colleagues. There's only one person you can't BS, and that's yourself. Right. So asking that question really sort of keeps you on track. And what and here's a question that I have when we're talking about rapid growth, and you said it, there's some agents that they come into the industry, they have this
massive burst of energy. They hit the scene, they write these massive figures. 12 months later, they're half of the GCI they were. 12 months after that, they're out of the industry and they're burnt out. So I want to know two things, because, you know, for me, there's always a thing around motivation, but then there's also a thing around discipline. So you've definitely got motivation, you've definitely got discipline. So my first thing, and there's also a high level of hunger. Here's my questions, and it's probably a triple barrel question. One, how do you stay motivated, focused, and keep discipline?
Yep.
And two, how do you stay hungry? So they're the two things I want to know.
Well, hungry, it's not. I'm not motivated by financial and so, well, I'm going to make $1 million this year.
Yeah.
I look at it by the end of the day. And what hurts me the most, I'll go back a little bit. No, when people actually, would say, "Oh, Peter, you didn't call me back," or something like that, and it'd be like a very rare occasion. Yeah. That more affects me more.
Yeah, right.
So being hungry is being like, I've just succeeded. I've hit that record sale, or you know what, that person really needed to sell. The banks were for closing, and I got the deal done.
Yeah.
That's what makes me, motivated to succeed. I love challenges. I love hard situations where it may be, a deceased estate, 9 different beneficiaries. You're going to deal with all 9 of them.
Yeah.
Some people say, well, why would you care? But it's a mission, but I can say that I've accomplished that and done that. So discipline, as I said, starts at 4:30 in the morning. I eat healthy.
Yep.
I don't sit at cafes all the time and then having all the, I don't drink coffee. We've
both got our waters.
I've got 2 bottles. Yep. So staying hungry, as I said, is you're going to have something that motivates you. With me, I just think it's just, creating that career path, being blessed that I'm working as a real estate agent and not a plumber. Yep. Because at the age of 15, when I started, I was very close to getting an apprenticeship at Garden Island to be a plumber.
Yeah.
Sliding doors, 1 week work experience, be very grateful in what we have.
Yeah.
What we have, some people don't have.
Yeah.
So even if you're an agent that's just starting out and you think this is hard, I've lost that listing, I haven't done that, make rejection your best friend.
Yeah.
Deal with rejection. Okay, this is not good. Get motivated, do something, get something that motivates you, and then go again.
Can I pick up on something? And I might be wrong here, and I'm just sort of trying to read the play here. There's 2 things there. And this is very rare, I'm going to say, because most agents, regardless of the answer they tell you, it's always about the commission and the money. One of the things I can see here, and tell me from off base, and maybe this is a bit personal, but you have an honest need to be liked by your clients. You don't just want to do a transaction. You want them to like Peter at the end of the transaction, so you will go above and beyond for that to happen.
To get the referral, to remember me in 4 years' time or 5 years' time.
Yeah.
So the numbers that I wrote, so if you say 144 listings, how many of them just, picked up? I could say to him, half of them would be, "Oh, Peter, you sold that," or "Peter, you sold that," or "Peter, you sold my friend's property," or even referral from other agents, which may only be 5K the way saying, "But I just, you're the best agent for that area.
Yeah.
You do it."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the, how can I say, the prize for me.
Yeah.
As I said, that have a good name, build a career, which I've done, and be very grateful.
Yeah, you know what? And it's funny that you say it, because one of my old mentors, and I remember this, and I'll never forget it. He said, "Aaron, the definition of ethics is doing the right thing when nobody else is watching," and that's the definition of ethics in general. But I thought about that I've thought about that for years, and I think, how does that translate to real estate? And realistically, what you're saying is, and what I sort of come up with is, do the right thing and expect nothing in return. Do the right thing, not because you can smell commission or that the deal is closed, but because it was the right thing to do. I promise you, and that's a bit of delayed gratification, because you might do the right thing today, and look, you might see something from it, or you might not, or you could see something from it in 10 years. So before we wrap up, I guess I want to just ask you a question for our listeners.
Yep.
You're starting 2019, luck hasn't been in your favor.
Yep.
2018 wasn't the career for you. What's 2 or 3 things that I can do to turn my year around to make sure that we have our best year ever?
Well, look at the things that you failed on.
Yeah.
Now, failed meaning it might be a harsh word, but it might be, why didn't I get that listing? So go back, even now, if with a listing which is being sold and done, if you haven't rang that vendor which you missed out on, phone them and say, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, may I ask, I know you sold your property. Was there any reason why we didn't get the listing?
Yep.
You need to know the reasons why, then you can move forward to do things differently.
Yep.
Now, it might be the marketing. You might be, you're advertising properties with just listed and no price ranges.
Yep.
You might be listing things overpriced.
Yep.
So it depends on the actual person, but you've got to actually see what you're not good at. There's something that I'm not good at. I'm not good at, writing and spelling and things like that. If I didn't have a computer now, I'd be stuck.
Yeah.
I went to year 10. I was brought up in Mount Druitt, which nothing against Mount Druitt.
Yeah.
I didn't have a really good education. I wasn't good at much things, but I was good at selling property.
Yeah.
So you've got to look at things, what you're good at, what you're not good at, try to improve, and then you can implement that for 2019.
So realistically, identify where your gaps are, because you're really only as strong as the weakest link in the chain. Anything else before we finish up?
I think that's it. There's not really, as I said, just focusing on the things that you're not good at. Try to work on those for 2019, but start running early in 2019 and catch your competitors off guard.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, guys, I've really enjoyed this webinar. Thank you for taking the time out and joining us. I know you're busy, so I really do appreciate it. Guys, final webinar for the year. So here's what I'd love you to do. Take note. Take stock of where your business is at. Take stock of what you're going to do and what you're going to do differently in 2019. What we're going to do now is hang around for some questions, because I can see some coming through, and I can see Pete's phone. He's got about 1 million
10 messages,
10 messages,
7 missed calls, and 21 emails.
So keep him busy there. So let's answer some of these questions. All right, let's answer some of these questions. All right. So any questions? So we're getting a lot of thank you. So if there's any questions that you want answered, now's the time to ask, guys. So any questions? Great organic talk. Thank you, Leonie. Should we still letterbox drop or send more or spend more on Facebook? That's your question.
Depends on your area. So if you're in an area where you know that you've got a lot of investors and most of the properties are rented, of course you'll be spending a lot of money on letterbox drops to people that you're not even going to read it.
Yeah.
But I believe you're still going to do a letterbox drop at least once a month.
Yeah.
Now I'll touch back on it. So once a month meaning is, say you sold 4 properties. Those 4 properties are going to be at the back of the card, sold every month. Yep. That's what I do. Yep. So I don't change the thing. It's just sold every month.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So Leonie, my answer to that would be as well, it's not an either or, it's an and. So maintain your letterbox drops and do the social media stuff. And I can see you've been doing some awesome marketplace reports on Instagram and telling people what's on. I really like that stuff. So that's awesome. Many thanks. All right, I'm trying to find the questions amongst. Okay, so here's a question from Lee, and this is a really sort of authentic question. What do you do to recharge your batteries?
Okay, well, this is very good. So I'll give you a bit of a wrap around. So basically, I'm married.
Yeah.
I have a 8-year-old. I have a 2.5-year-old, and I've got a 3-month-old. So I've got my hands full at home. So what I like to do is every week. I work technically, I'm in the office 5 days a week.
Yep.
Like yesterday when you phoned me, I was in the city, had Santa Claus
Yep.
photos.
You still answer my call too?
Still answer your call.
Yep.
I've got my headphones.
Yep.
These things here are gold.
Yep.
They're always in my ear.
Yep.
So I do take time off. Normally what I try to do is, I've said, a little break. So it might be leave on a Saturday afternoon, come back on a Tuesday.
Yep.
Next year, for a whole month, I'm going to be overseas, seeing family in Europe. But as I said, you've got to have time off or you're going to burn out.
What month are you going?
Be August, September.
I'm going May. Where are you going? Greece?
Greece, France.
We're both Greek.
Greek,
It's funny, the last 2 interviews we've done, Andrew, Peter, Aaron, all good Greek boys.
Funny enough, Andrew.
The Greek connections.
We go back to that. Andrew, he probably won't remember this, but I actually did my certificate of registration with him in 2002.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, and it's interesting. The three Greek guys are up the line from each other. So, which is awesome. All right. Do you focus on new properties, or what's this, or just own I'm not sure what that means, Walter. I apologise if you can make sense of that one.
Well, new properties, we sold everything. So new properties, old properties existing possibly, or owner-occupied properties maybe.
Yeah, that's what you talk about, like project, new and old, pre-existing.
So one thing that I did go back probably 3 years ago, I created a thing called a new homes division. What I started finding is we're selling a lot to developers, but we weren't getting the resales back. They were going to Colliers and bigger companies. So I said, you know what, I'm going to create something here, new homes division. So we sell them the development sides. We then sell them off the plan, or when they're complete as well. So pretty much got our fingers in the total pie rather than just selling them something and then coming back to us in years to come to sell them something else.
Yeah, and you know what? That's one thing I've noticed. You'll sell the development site and you'll get it back. So can I ask this then?
Yes.
Because it's the theory sounds easy. I sell you the block, and then you give me back the resales, but that's not always the case because there's relationships or other people. So.
Correct.
And this is more of a question from my point of view, because that's something I've never been great at.
Yes.
How do you sort of get them to say, hey, you haven't dealt with me before. I know you've had the relationship over here.
Yes.
But now you should deal with me. How does that work?
Well, what we do is, as I said, we tell them that we've been around for many years. We speak to different buyers. We can convince buyers to wait to buy off the plan. Now, of course, the market's slowing down. Off the plan isn't very great. But you've still got developers which are saying, well, we'll wait until completion and then we will sell. As I said, having it's wearing a couple of hats. You pretty much, as I said, selling off the plan, you got brand new, you even got old, 2-bedroom apartments which are 50 years old, and I'm happy to take them on. So we pretty much do everything.
You do them all. Excellent.
Even commercial, did 2 this year.
All right, good. All right, commercial are good fun. So question about marketing. So what happens, when you're going in pitching marketing, if they're saying it's too dear and you lose a listing, like what sort of is there any advice you can give us around overcoming that objection around, I don't want to pay marketing and I can't afford it?
The most thing that I bring up is most agents will charge marketing. Now, you're going to always lose if you're going to have a vendor which is, I want a 1% fee, I want marketing that, because there will be some agents may be willing to do it. In this market, maybe not, because they're sitting on the market for too long. But I try to remind those vendors is, why do you have insurance on your property? Why are you paying a premium of $600 or $1,000 a year? It's because it's your most important asset. Now, do you want to promote your most important asset? Are you going to just throw your property away, which we could potentially get maybe an extra $10,000 and spending an extra $15, only $100?
It's marketing is insurance. Right? We might sell it to the database, but the marketing is the insurance to ensure you wouldn't leave your house uninsured. Like when we take your house to market, you wouldn't not market it.
Like landlord insurance.
It's
like
the same thing.
Like that. So it's important. As I said, there is going to be a couple of operators there which will give you free marketing. But as I said, what you pay is what you get.
Yeah, excellent. Lee asked a basic question. The 2.3 GCI, does that include you and the Terry and the team, or just you?
Just me.
Just you, and I knew that was the answer. But
now there was a lot of, as I said, sales which basically settled. So pretty much I may have sold, say, 144 properties. But in that period of time, I may have had maybe a lot of delayed settlements, which might have been 220, 230 properties settling.
Yeah, that's good.
Just to clarify, just in case.
Yeah, and that's fine, mate. It's a GCI is the GCI. Being the second mouse, how do you convince the vendor to reinvest in marketing? Now, do you want me to handle this one? G'day, Tim, by the way. Do you want me to handle this one, or do you want to handle that one?
Well, as I said, it's at the end of the day, you've got to digest and see what the agent did wrong, if they did anything wrong. It may be you've gone in there and the vendor goes, I've just spent $2,000 on marketing, I haven't got it here. Okay, what price were you at? Oh, that's $700. Well, do you know your property price is worth $640? Oh, well, I'm willing to take that now. Well, then you've got to reinvest the money. You basically gambled on red. Now you've got to go the other way because you gambled at a high price. You spent money on marketing. You've now got to redo that again, but you've got to put it at the price on which we think it's worth.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you can say to a vendor, are you in, at that price you're on the market. Now we're in the market. The best houses in Australia will remain unsold due to price. Now we're meeting the market conditions. Now you're going to get a much better response. Like I could have the best house in the country and I can put it on the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald, and if it's still $50 million too dear, I'm still not going to get a call. So the marketing that we do is just really a side dish to the pricing that we've got it at. It's either going to magnify it or increase our inquiry, where if we're over the market, it's clearly not going to work. Now we're at a new market price. It's going to improve or increase our chances. All right, let's keep going. I don't think there's any Being the okay. I'm just seeing if I've missed anything. I think we're basically it. Okay, pre-listing kit. Do you use a pre-listing kit? I know what your answer is going to be prior to an appraisal. So let's
sorry, say that again.
The pre-listing kit.
Yep.
So do you have one? And I
Yes.
think that was your digital.
Yes. So the digital works, but if I have, as I said, a vendor that lives in the area, as soon as I get off the phone to them, I will have a kit delivered to them within half an hour.
Yeah.
The reason is, I know for a fact I'm going there the next day or in 2 days. They will read something of it. They're not just going to leave it on their doorstep. So I won't, as I said, it'll be me. It could be assistant. It could be anybody. Most of the time, we don't even knock. Just leave it on the door. They will see it when they get home or whenever it is. They'll go through it and they'll understand on, if they don't know nothing about me, here's my sales. This is what's selling in the area, so they can digest before I get there.
Good. Excellent, guys. All right, I think that's about it. If there's no other questions, we will hang out. Can I ask Peter the average commission he charges?
Well, it all depends on the property. So if you've got, say, a $300,000 unit, most average now is probably around 2.73%. With marketing. Probably the lowest that I'd probably go is probably 2.2, 2.4. But again, depending on how big of a scale, I might pick up a developer which says he sells 30 units. Of course, they're going to be a little bit more negotiable.
Of course. So realistically, I think it's Saeed I can see. It's going to be relevant to your marketplace. And realistically, don't let the commission be the barrier. It's what I know in any marketplace. In a good market, anyone can sell a house. In this changing market, they need a trained professional. So what I'm saying about that is two things why we lose listings. One, we didn't connect. One, we didn't show value. So if you're connecting on a real personal level and you're really demonstrating value, you will get your commission every time. It's when we fail to connect and fail to demonstrate why we charge that little bit extra or why we are where we are, that's when we miss the listings, okay? I think that's it, guys. If there's no other questions, I think it's right on the time. Right on time. So I'll let everybody get on with their day. Guys, I've really enjoyed this webinar. Again, thank you for joining us, Peter.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
If I don't speak to you before the end of the year, everybody make sure you have a great holiday break, have a great Christmas, recharge, come back fresh, kick butt. Until then, guys, work hard, stay humble, and we will speak again shortly. Have a great day. Take care.